Okay, let's get into the very first truth of the four truths of the Bible. We're going to be using some pictures as we go along through these videos, and here's the very first one you need to be aware of. God wants us to be in relationship with Him. He intended it like this, and this is how He started everything off. In Genesis chapter 1, the very first chapter in the whole Bible, this is what it says in the first verse. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And all throughout this chapter, we see this. Once He creates something, it says this, and God saw that it was good. But then a little bit later on, toward the end of the chapter, it says that God finally created mankind. He says, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. And it wasn't until humanity was in the picture, that it says this in verse 31. And God saw all that He had made, and it was very good. So all through the chapter, it says it was good, it was good, it was good. But when He made mankind, it says it was very good. And the reason is because of this very first truth in the Bible, is because we were created for relationship with God. The Bible teaches that humanity is God's masterpiece in all of creation. In fact, a little bit later on in the Old Testament, in Exodus chapter 6, it says this, I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. And we see this simple verse repeated all throughout the Old Testament. God wants us to be His people, and He wants to be our God. Now, maybe it's hard for you to believe that. Maybe it's difficult for you to understand that God would want a relationship with you. But this is where all of the truth of the Bible starts. God wants to be in relationship with us. So before you go on to the next video, why don't you go down to these questions for discussion? And as a group, why don't you talk about some of the most important relationships in your life and what makes them valuable? Warm up with that question together. And then ask yourselves this question as a group. Is it difficult for you to imagine that God would want a relationship like that with you? Why don't you hit pause and talk about this, and then we'll see you in the next video.